Okay, I've been talking to you a lot about this as stuff in terms of the potential and all that stuff like that. So what I thought I'd go over with you is what exactly I used to do in my software automation stuff. So let's do that real quick. Okay, first of all, we start over here with a big pot of potential. Okay, so if we drew little arrows out here, there'd be lots of little arrows because there'd be just tons of potential. I mean, in every project you can think about, there's always tons of potential. We sometimes heard this called blue sky or whatever else in business, but anyway. So, but over here next, where that really heads to then is to some course of action, right? This is the things that we want to get really going. In other words, the course of action. So then the next logical thing is, what we get out of that is results. If we do the work, here's the results we're going to get. That's what we're hoping to achieve. Okay? So you notice this box is a little bigger than this box, this one's a little smaller than this one. And then over here, coming back, is a box I call certainty. Okay? We'll call that also beliefs. Okay? So, in looking at this, if we start to go around the horn here and say, okay, if I'm looking at potential and saying, how do I get my potential, all that I am as a human being, all of the things I can accomplish, into actions? Now, in business, how do we do that? I used to go to those sales trainers, like I said, to those be in the back of the room. Because I know the sales trainer would tell them all the potential that they had, all the good things about themselves and all the good things about the products they had and what they should be doing, sending out those thank you letters and all the stuff they should be doing for business. Well, that was the potential they had in their business, but how are they going to implement that to actions? Give you an example. If I said to you, I want you to send a thank you for ordering with us letter to every customer that you get, you probably agree that that's a good idea to do. But who's going to do the work? In other words, in the software business, I had to fill this gap in right here about who was going to do the work. And that was where the computer started to come in. Okay? So the big thing was, how am I going to get this same thing out of a person? Okay? How can I make us act like little computers? If we want to really get down to it, that's what we have to do. The computer can do things that are always the same process, which becomes, let's call it a ritual of processes, right? Okay? And they're not, anything but one series of those same steps we talked about in the lead up to this video. So the ritual is small steps of certainty. Lao Tzu said at one time, a voyage of 1,000 miles begins with what? One step. You have to take that first step. Now, the key is when you get to that first step is how do we get that certainty that we want to take that step? Again, we're talking about certainty, right? Am I certain I can get there? Am I certain I can make that step? So, if we can find that actions that do those things and we can do those things, now once we get to actions, we're creating more of the actions, aren't we? We get through this step, we get more action happening. We get more things that are going on in our life. We get more things in business that are happening. The computer, in my case, pushed that number of actions up. It sent out more emails, it sent out more faxes, it talked to more people. It kept in touch with my sales force and said, hey, you need to be contacting these people and giving them reports to do. All kinds of actions got just skyrocketed way up. Now, the beauty of that was we got a lot more results. By increasing the number of actions that we had going on, of course we got more results. We had more people signing up with us. We had more things happening that were more positive for our company than we'd ever experienced before. Now, we could obviously have hired more sales force and so forth, but that gets expensive fast. We know that, in the expense of the labor pool is huge. So we have to help those people that we have do more things more efficiently and a better job. So that's where we came up with the computer program that increased the action. Now, once we increased those results, we got more certainty out of the deal. In other words, we were certain that if we did those things, we got a certain result, and so forth, and we were certain that those things would happen. Now what happens with that after this? Now we're right back to here again. Okay? With that ingrowing belief in yourself, now computers obviously work off certainty. They know they're going to work as long as they're running, and that goes back to the potential. Give me more potential and I can complete the loop. Now we're talking about those same things we talked about with spirals, right? You can have, how many times have you heard this song and dance? Oh, I'm in a downward spiral. I'm in a downward spiral, right? Well, that's what this is. It's a spiral, isn't it? But which way is this spiral going? It's going up. You can go the other way in the spiral too, right? You can go up or down in the spiral. So you get to choose. And that's the difference in here, right? You choose. Which way do you want to go? Now, obviously, you know that if you're not believing yourself, you're not going to get a whole lot of results, and you're not going to take any action. So it goes right back to, it doesn't matter how much potential you have. That's the downward side of a spiral, right? The upside is, how do I get myself over here? Here's the key. The key is you got to break it down in small steps. My wife used to always say to me, you know, geez, honey, I can't believe that you can take this whole university idea out and expand it out and say, oh, we'll go buy this building, we'll do this, do it, we'll do that, and we'll have a university for having retreats at. And she said, how do you manage it? I said, here's what I do. Here's the secret of how I get successful at the things I want to get conquered on, or my goals, if you will. The simple part is to break it down into small, manageable steps. Sometimes it's just a daily ritual I had to go. So I would take, for example, when I bought Endowing University out here in Iowa, it was huge in the sense that it was like, oh my gosh, the roof leaks, the plumbing doesn't work, there's no heat in the building, well, I said, you can't fix all that in one night, nor was Rome built in one day, right? It's slow, steady steps that take you to the end product. The pyramid's the same thing. They were great things, but they weren't done in a day, okay? So the same thing for you in your life. That's exactly what you have to focus on now. What can I do to make sure my first steps are going to give me that sense of certainty? So don't set goals that you can't reach. You know it's unrealistic for me to sit there and say, we're going to have a brand new building here by Thursday of this week. That's not going to happen. So what I can do is say, you know what? The first thing to do is to contact a company about roofing and what it's going to cost to fix the roof. That's our first step, you know. And matter of fact, maybe I'm going to set my goal at having one company a day I talk to. Not 5 companies I'm going to talk to, one a day. So I'm not doing the same thing all day long, and I'm not reliant on that company for always talking to me. Now you may do it a different way. You may say, no, I'd rather contact 5 today, and then, you know, the next day have 5 other tasks I want to get done or whatever it is. But can you call 5 guys? Yeah. Can I call 1? Yes. They're both reachable goals. But if mine was 5 guys over 5 days, that's reachable as well, okay? So I broke it out to as simple a step as that. Now, does that get me down the road toward getting the whole school fixed? Yes, it does. That's just the point. I can do those things because I can say, certainly I can get that done tomorrow. Now the next day, can I find a plumber locally? Can I find an electrician? Can I do some of those things locally? Can my sons be taught some of those things? Well, of course, but breaking it out into my thought process instantly goes to, what are the first steps that I would need to get done? Now, when I got the building, I didn't say, oh, there's so much to be done, forget about it. You know, there goes potential and it's like shot right in the foot. But what I did say was, all I have to do, I can certainly get there. I can get the results I want if I believe that I can get there by certainly setting steps that I can make things happen. So that's what you have to do in these things. Break it out into small steps. Make them ritualistic if you have to. You hear about all the kinds of times about people saying, okay, I'm going to put a Porsche 911 on my refrigerator, and I'm going to think about my goal is to own a Porsche 911. Now, if that's for you, that's for you. But that ritual of looking at every day on your thing, reminding yourself of your goals, is what you're going to do about getting closer. Okay, let's hold up on this and we'll do another one in just a second.